Hey, good day, good evening. This is Nina here. I'm making this video this evening because I run a page on Facebook called Friends of Sharpeville, Local and International. I've been doing that for quite some time, having a sincere and long-standing relationship with people from the Sharpeville community, and having worked in the Vaal community and in the Sharpeville community across a period of years. And my relationship with that, specifically with the Sharpeville community and the projects and programs that they are running, has been long-standing, and I wanted to do something to support them. And so I established the Friends of Sharpeville local and international page on Facebook. Looking at it tonight, I realized that I only have 159 likes on the page. And it's been in my mind and in my heart for quite some time that this is unacceptable in our country. Sharpeville is of great significance, not only to the people of Sharpeville and not only to Black people. It is of great significance because on the 21st of March 1960, 69 people died. Why? They died because they were protesting. They were part of a group of between 5,000 and 7,000 protesters who were protesting against carrying a passbook. Now, I feel like I need to explain this because recently I've met young people of all colors in different communities who have no idea where Sharpeville even is and have no knowledge of the history of this community and its significance in the lives of the 58.5 approximately million people who live in this country. 69 people, those figures can be disputed, died amongst those protesters on that day because they were protesting carrying a passbook. So a passbook was the system by which people were held back, abused, discriminated against, treated inhumanely, told what time they could enter a town, enter a white community, what time they could leave, whether they could be there at all. It was an inhumane system and discriminated greatly against all Black people in this country. So I started the page because time has moved on and people don't remember or have pushed it aside and said it's not important. It certainly is important to every one of the 58.5 million people who live in our country now. That historic event, which happened when I was only 1 year old. I wasn't even born in this country, although my parents were of South African origin. So, truly speaking, I could say I have no real recollection of it. I was 1 year old and I wasn't living in this country. And I could also shrug my shoulders and say, well, I had nothing to do with it. But in reality, that's not true. Because no one in the white community ever had to carry a passbook. No one in the white community ever had to walk around and be asked what are they doing and why are they there and be told whether they would be allowed to be there or not. So the 69 people who died And the protesters who were there and survived the day paid and paved the way for the freedom which later came to all of the people of our country. And under the democratic dispensation, all people are free, regardless of color, regardless of their color, nationality, creed, race, religion. So these people should not be forgotten. I do a lot of work in the Sharpeville community and work alongside people who are extremely passionate about Sharpeville and about building out the community and about helping the community to empower themselves. And that's why I started the page. And that's why I'm doing this video tonight, to appeal to you wherever you are in South Africa and abroad, to like the page and bring to this community whatever support you may have. We're not talking here about financial support only. Of course, it would be welcome, but generally speaking, there's a mountain of skill and talent within Sharpeville that has to be untapped. And there are people who are working very passionately to develop the community. People like Niku Mojalefa and Tema, Kamakulu Denisu, Lerato Mokobun, and a number of other people who are trying to make sure that this community becomes economically viable. Again, we know that there are so many needs throughout our country, and there are so many communities that need something. But this community will celebrate the 21st of March every year. And yet the majority of students in this country, young people and older people, have never visited the grave sites of the 69 people who died in Sharpeville, who paved the way for my freedom today as a white person in this country, and for the freedom of the millions of people living in this country. Due recognition and honor is not given, and yet we will travel abroad to go and see the sites of fallen heroes and visit historic places in other countries. And our country needs to honor the people of the country. I'm saying this as well because the Constitution of South Africa, under which we all live, the highest law of our country, was signed on the 10th of December 1996 in Sharpeville by Nelson Mandela. And in the preamble to the Constitution, which I love and which I believe most people do not know, it reads as follows: "We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past." So I want to pause just on that point. Saying to people that, let's all get over it. It happened in 1960. We have to recognize the injustices of the past, not skim over them, not pretend that, look, well, really, it isn't important right now. Let's just get on with the business of the day. Recognizing it is a verb. It means that you have to at least then be aware of it, recognize it, and know that it was there and what was the significance of it. The preamble for the Constitution further continues and says, "Honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land." Yes, there are many events where we honor, but I have yet to hear of one where the 69 people in Sharpeville are honored in their own community, and where the benefit of honoring and the foot traffic goes into that specific community. It doesn't make sense to me that it's honored on the 21st of March across the country, and yet most of the celebrations are not held in Sharpeville. And the traffic into Sharpeville for tourism and for development is limited. And the majority of school children growing up will never visit the Sharpeville community and will never attend the gravesite and understand the significance of the lives of those people that were lost there. So we need to honor and recognize what has happened there. And then it says, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country. Surely those people deserve respect. They paid with their blood and their lives, and their families have paid since they died. And most people will just shrug their shoulders and say, well, I wasn't alive when it happened, or I had nothing to do with it. I didn't get any direct benefit from being white, for example. Let's talk about that. But we did. We never had to carry a passbook. Let's just start there. We never had to carry a passbook. None of our ancestors had to carry a passbook to just move around in the country of their birth. So we need to respect those who have worked to build and develop our country. And that respect, again, entails knowledge, that we know more about the community. The preamble continues and says, we believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. Sharpeville is currently under a Vision 2020, developing itself to go beyond the horror of the event in Sharpeville in 1960 and to move towards a vision which encompasses growth and economic development and empowerment of the citizens of that community. And that is something that I'm very passionate about, seeing that more people join the Friends of Sharpeville local and international page. Bring to the table your skills, your mindsets, your passion, your enthusiasm. I mean, everybody has something to contribute and can help to build, teach people to fish. And let's make this country work. Let's make the 69 people who died there proud that the sacrifice that they made and their families made, some of whom are still alive. But I mean, look at the date, 1960. Will they in their lifetime ever see any real benefit beyond what happened with a democracy in a free country? Any true recognition of that which they paid for so dearly? So we believe that our country belongs to everyone and all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to do what? Heal the divisions of the past. Heal it. You can't heal it when you stand aside. I follow a guy on Facebook called David Bedrick, who says that when there was trauma and abuse, you have to stand witness to it. Let the persons be heard. Let people stand and say, yes, I am here. I represented a nation that benefited from it. Therefore, I am not guiltless and blameless in everything, although I was a child and had no physical hand in what happened. So to heal the division is to stand a witness, to be there, and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice. I mean, we can talk for ages about social justice. What does that mean? Does it not mean coming back to recognize? Does it not mean visiting the grave sites? Does it not mean empowering ourselves with knowledge about the community? Does it not mean helping where we can help? And fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society. Open? An open society where the majority of people still fear going into any townships? where people are scared of visiting a township like Sharpeville, but we have the freedom of movement. So establishing a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is protected equally by the law. And then it says, improve the quality of life of all citizens. I love this preamble. I love it. And free the potential of each person. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. The human capital that we have in the 58.5 million people in our country. And yet we're still allowing divisions of the past by race and color and creed and nationality to separate us. We have to get over this. And one of the ways you can do that is to like our page. Come and visit Sharpeville. Come and see what's happening. And if things are not what you call perfect in your world, then do something about it. Help. And build a united and democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place in the sovereign state of the family of nations. May God protect our people. Kosi Sikilele, Africa, Morena, Poluka, Poloka, Sichaba Saiso. Hotsi in South Africa, God bless South Africa. I'm asking each and every one of you, black, white, across our nation, and people internationally, like the Friends of Sharpeville page, become a friend of Sharpeville. We are headed towards yet another celebration on the 10th of December of the signing of the Constitution of South Africa. And yet we are not actioning within communities and honoring that very same Constitution by doing the verb words of recognizing, healing, laying foundations, improving, building, honoring, and respecting. I'm quite passionate about this and wanted to sit down today to say, please, join us. Join, not me, I only manage the page in conjunction with the citizens of the community of Sharpeville. It is my contribution, and it is my privilege and my pleasure, and a way in which I'm trying to give back for the advantages which I undeniably did have, even although I wasn't born in this country, in returning to this country, in working here, in teaching here, and in living here. I'm grateful for every person that has crossed my way. I'm grateful for my personal liberation struggle and improved understanding. It's never complete, but an improved understanding of what it takes and what it took to get to where we are today, where you and I, black and white, are all free. And for the people in my community, the white people, English and Afrikaans, don't stand aside and say that we must all get over it. We have to stand witness. We have to recognize that there were great injustices. Yes, we will work forward, but it is an essential part of the journey of healing to stand witness, to acknowledge and to honor people whom perhaps we had no knowledge of at the time at which these things happened. So I wanted to ask you to join the Friends of Sharpeville this evening. Like the page, send your comments, open up debate, contribute to the programs that are already there, growing the market in Sharpeville, bringing about production, factories, development, education programs. I believe in our country, and I believe that as a nation we can do these things, but we do need reminding. And I welcome your contributions, your input, and your comments. So thank you very, very much for taking time to listen this evening.